Imagine waking up every morning and pouring yourself a bowl of what you've been told is a heart-healthy breakfast, something doctors have recommended for decades, something that sits in nearly every American pantry, completely unaware that this seemingly innocent food is quietly triggering inflammation in your brain, accelerating the very neurodegeneration you're desperately trying to slow down. Or picture yourself reaching for that afternoon snack, that convenient processed food that promises health benefits right there on the label, not knowing that every bite is feeding the inflammatory cascade that makes your tremors worse, your movements stiffer, and your cognitive fog thicker. This isn't some rare exotic ingredient. This is a food that 87% of Americans consume regularly. A food that's been marketed as healthy, even essential for brain function and overall wellness. Yet emerging research is revealing a disturbing truth. This common food might be one of the worst things you could eat if you have Parkinson's disease. The science is clear. Inflammation in the brain, what researchers call neuroinflammation, plays a central role in Parkinson's progression. It's not just about dopamine-producing cells dying. It's about an ongoing inflammatory process that continues to damage your brain day after day, and certain foods act like gasoline on that fire. The frustrating part is that you might be doing everything else right, taking your medications on schedule, exercising regularly, getting enough sleep, following your neurologist's advice to the letter. But if you're consuming this inflammatory food multiple times per day, you're undermining all those positive efforts. It's like trying to put out a house fire while someone keeps pouring fuel on the flames. You might make some progress, but you'll never get ahead. Today, I'm going to reveal exactly what this food is, why it's so damaging specifically for people with Parkinson's, how it triggers the inflammatory cascade in your brain, and most importantly, what you can do starting immediately to eliminate this hidden danger from your diet. I'm also going to share 3 powerful anti-inflammatory alternatives that can actually help reduce neuroinflammation and support your brain health. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear action plan to transform your diet from one that feeds disease progression to one that fights it. I've seen patients make this single dietary change and report improvements in energy levels, mental clarity, and even motor symptoms within just 2 to 3 weeks. The human body has a remarkable capacity to heal when we stop poisoning it and start nourishing it properly. Before we dive into identifying this dangerous food, I'd love to know where you're watching from today. Leave a comment below telling me your location, and feel free to share any questions you have about diet and Parkinson's. Your experience might help someone else in our community who's facing similar challenges. And if you've noticed that certain foods seem to make your symptoms worse, pay very close attention, because what you're about to learn could explain those patterns you've been noticing. The food that's secretly inflaming your brain and accelerating Parkinson's progression is something you probably never suspected: refined vegetable oils. Yes, those bottles of corn oil, soybean oil, canola oil, and other highly processed seed oils that fill entire aisles in every grocery store. The same oils that food manufacturers use in virtually every packaged food, restaurant meal, and processed snack you encounter. These oils have become so ubiquitous in the modern diet that the average American now consumes them at nearly every meal, often without even realizing it. But here's what makes this particularly insidious for people with Parkinson's. Refined vegetable oils are extraordinarily high in omega-6 fatty acids, specifically linoleic acid, and they're processed in ways that create inflammatory compounds that directly damage your brain cells. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Haven't we been told that vegetable oils are heart-healthy, better than saturated fats, and recommended by major health organizations? Yes, that's exactly what we've been told for decades. But the science behind those recommendations was based on incomplete understanding and has been seriously challenged by recent research, especially when it comes to neurological health and inflammatory diseases like Parkinson's. Let me explain exactly why these oils are so problematic. First, the omega-6 to omega-3 ratio issue. Our ancestors consumed omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids in roughly equal proportions, maybe a ratio of 1:1 or at most 4:1. Both types of fatty acids are essential, meaning your body can't make them and needs to get them from food. Omega-3 fatty acids are generally anti-inflammatory, while omega-6 fatty acids, particularly when consumed in excess, promote inflammation. The modern Western diet, heavily reliant on refined vegetable oils, has pushed this ratio to somewhere between 15:1 and 20:1. Some estimates suggest it's even worse. This dramatic imbalance creates a pro-inflammatory state throughout your entire body, including your brain. How exactly do omega-6 fatty acids trigger inflammation in the brain? When you consume large amounts of linoleic acid from vegetable oils, your body converts it into arachidonic acid, which then gets metabolized into powerful inflammatory compounds called eicosanoids. These include prostaglandins, thromboxanes, and leukotrienes, all of which promote inflammation. In the brain of someone with Parkinson's disease, this inflammation activates microglial cells, which are the brain's immune cells. Under normal circumstances, microglial cells protect your brain by cleaning up debris and fighting infections. But when they become chronically activated by inflammatory signals, they release toxic compounds, including reactive oxygen species, pro-inflammatory cytokines like TNF-alpha and interleukin-1 beta, and other neurotoxic substances. This chronic microglial activation creates a vicious cycle. The inflammation damages dopamine-producing neurons. Those damaged neurons release signals that further activate microglia, which release more inflammatory compounds, which damage more neurons, and on and on. Studies using brain imaging in Parkinson's patients have shown that areas with the most neuroinflammation correspond to areas with the greatest dopamine neuron loss. The inflammation isn't just a side effect of neurodegeneration, it's actively driving it forward. Research published in the journal Neurology found that Parkinson's patients with higher levels of inflammatory markers in their blood and cerebrospinal fluid experienced faster disease progression and more severe symptoms. Another study in the Journal of Neuroinflammation demonstrated that reducing inflammatory markers through dietary changes was associated with slower cognitive decline in Parkinson's patients. But the problem with refined vegetable oils goes beyond just the omega-6 content. The processing methods used to create these oils generate additional harmful compounds. Vegetable oils don't exist in nature in their refined form. You can't squeeze a corn cob or soybean and get a bottle of clear oil. These oils require extensive industrial processing involving high heat, chemical solvents like hexane, deodorization, and bleaching. This processing creates several categories of toxic compounds. First are trans fats. Even oils labeled as having zero trans fats often contain small amounts because current labeling laws allow products with less than 0.5 grams per serving to claim zero. These trans fats are particularly damaging to brain cell membranes. Second are lipid peroxides, which are formed when the delicate polyunsaturated fatty acids in vegetable oils are exposed to heat, light, and oxygen during processing and storage. These peroxides directly damage cellular structures and DNA. Third are advanced lipoxidation end products, or ALEs, which are similar to the advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, that form in high-sugar foods. ALEs promote oxidative stress and inflammation throughout the body, including the brain. Fourth, many vegetable oils contain residual chemical solvents from the extraction process, while the amounts are supposedly below safety thresholds. Chronic exposure to these chemicals adds to your overall toxic burden. And finally, some processing methods can create compounds called 4-hydroxy-2-non-enol, or HNE, which is highly neurotoxic and has been specifically implicated in neurodegenerative diseases, including Parkinson's. When you consume foods cooked in vegetable oils, especially at high temperatures like deep frying, you're ingesting all of these inflammatory and toxic compounds. One of my patients, Linda, came to me after her Parkinson's symptoms had been steadily worsening despite optimal medical treatment. She was only 58 years old, had been diagnosed 3 years earlier, and was already experiencing significant motor fluctuations and cognitive issues. Linda was highly motivated and had been following what she thought was a very healthy diet. She avoided red meat, ate lots of whole grains, used vegetable oil for all her cooking because her doctor had told her it was heart healthy, and frequently ate at restaurants that advertised their use of healthy oils. When we did a detailed dietary analysis, I was shocked by how much omega-6 she was consuming. Her breakfast typically included granola with nuts, both of which are often made with vegetable oils. Her lunch was usually a salad with commercial dressing loaded with soybean oil. Dinner might be chicken stir-fried in canola oil, and snacks included crackers, chips, and other processed foods, all made with vegetable oils. I estimated she was getting 15 to 20 times more omega-6 than omega-3, creating massive inflammation, we made a dramatic dietary shift. Linda eliminated all refined vegetable oils from her home, switching to olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil for cooking. She stopped eating processed foods that contained soybean, corn, or canola oil, which meant reading every label carefully. She started eating fatty fish 3 times per week to boost omega-3 intake, and she began taking a high-quality fish oil supplement. Within 3 weeks, Linda reported feeling mentally clearer than she had in over a year. Her energy improved, her sleep quality got better, and interestingly, her tremors became less intense. By 6 weeks, her neurologist noted improvement in her motor examination scores. Linda was amazed that something as simple as changing the oils in her diet could have such a profound impact. She told me she felt like someone had lifted a fog she didn't even realize was there. Before we move forward with identifying where these oils hide and what to replace them with, I want to pause and ask you something that might reveal important patterns in your own experience. Have you noticed certain meals or foods that seem to make your Parkinson's symptoms worse the next day or even within hours? Maybe increased stiffness after eating certain restaurant meals, more pronounced tremors after particular snacks, or brain fog that seems connected to specific foods. You're not imagining these connections. Your body is giving you feedback. Share your observations in the comments. You can simply write, "I've noticed my symptoms get worse after eating." Your insight might help others recognize patterns they've been missing, and collectively we can build a picture of how different foods affect Parkinson's symptoms in real time. Now let's continue with exactly where these inflammatory oils are hiding in your diet. Refined vegetable oils are not just in that bottle in your pantry. They're hidden in nearly every processed and restaurant food you encounter, and this is where eliminating them becomes challenging. Food manufacturers love these oils because they're cheap, have a long shelf life, and provide the texture and mouthfeel that consumers expect. But that convenience comes at a steep cost to your brain health. Let's go through the common hiding places so you know what to look for. First and most obvious is cooking oils and spreads. This includes bottles labeled as vegetable oil, canola oil, corn oil, soybean oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, grapeseed oil, rice bran oil, and any blends containing these oils. Also included are margarine, vegetable shortening, and many butter substitutes. Even products marketed as healthy spreads often contain these problematic oils. Salad dressings and condiments are a massive source of hidden vegetable oils. Nearly all commercial salad dressings, even those labeled as vinaigrette, contain soybean or canola oil as their primary ingredient. Mayonnaise is essentially emulsified vegetable oil. Most commercial barbecue sauces, teriyaki sauces, and marinades contain these oils. Even ketchup and mustard sometimes include them as minor ingredients. If you eat salads regularly and use store-bought dressing, you're getting a significant dose of inflammatory omega-6 with every meal. Packaged and processed foods are perhaps the biggest culprit. Crackers, chips, cookies, cakes, pastries, granola bars, protein bars, microwave popcorn, frozen pizzas, TV dinners, instant noodles, and virtually every snack food contain vegetable oils. Read any ingredient label, and you'll see soybean oil, canola oil, or just vegetable oil listed. Often it's one of the first few ingredients, meaning it's present in significant quantity. Bread and baked goods from both grocery stores and bakeries typically contain vegetable oils. Even products that seem wholesome, like whole grain bread or artisan crackers, usually include these oils for texture and shelf stability. Nut butters, even some brands that seem natural, often contain added vegetable oils. Peanut butter, almond butter, and other nut butters should contain only nuts and maybe salt, but many commercial versions include partially hydrogenated oils or other vegetable oils. Restaurant foods are perhaps the most problematic because you have little control or even knowledge of what oils are being used. Almost all restaurants use vegetable oils for cooking because they're inexpensive and have high smoke points, suitable for high-heat cooking. Your stir-fry, your sautéed vegetables, your grilled chicken, your pasta dish, all are likely cooked in soybean, canola, or a vegetable oil blend. Deep-fried foods are obviously cooked in these oils. French fries, fried chicken, tempura, donuts, and anything else that's been deep-fried has absorbed significant amounts of whatever oil was used. Even foods that seem healthy, like a vegetable stir-fry or grilled fish at a restaurant, are typically prepared with these inflammatory oils. Fast food is particularly concerning because the oils used for frying are often reused multiple times, Each heating and cooling cycle increases the formation of toxic compounds. The oils become more and more degraded and inflammatory with each use. Some fast food restaurants change their frying oil only once a week, or even less frequently, meaning the fries you're eating were cooked in oil that's been heated and cooled dozens of times, accumulating massive amounts of oxidized lipids and toxic byproducts. Even seemingly healthy options at fast food restaurants, like salads, come with dressings made from vegetable oils. Coffee creamers, both liquid and powdered varieties, often contain vegetable oils, particularly partially hydrogenated oils. That morning coffee you're using to take your Parkinson's medication might be delivering a dose of inflammatory fats along with the caffeine. Protein powders and meal replacement shakes sometimes include vegetable oils or their derivatives like sunflower lecithin. While lecithin is less problematic than the whole oil, it's still worth noting if you're trying to minimize omega-6 intake. Infant formula and nutritional supplements for elderly adults often contain vegetable oils. Ironically, products designed for vulnerable populations frequently include these inflammatory ingredients. When you add up all these sources throughout a typical day, it becomes clear why the average American is consuming such excessive amounts of omega-6 fatty acids. Breakfast might include toast made with bread containing soybean oil, eggs cooked in vegetable oil, and coffee with creamer containing partially hydrogenated oil. A mid-morning snack could be a granola bar loaded with canola oil. Lunch might be a salad with commercial dressing that's primarily soybean oil. An afternoon snack of crackers made with vegetable oil. Dinner at a restaurant where everything is cooked in vegetable oil. And maybe an evening dessert of cookies or ice cream, both made with these oils. You could easily be consuming 15 to 30 grams or more of omega-6 rich vegetable oils every single day. Without even trying, that's the equivalent of 2 to 4 tablespoons of pure inflammatory oil. No wonder chronic diseases, including Parkinson's, are on the rise. What should you eat instead? And how can you practically eliminate these oils from your diet? Let's talk about healthy fat alternatives that won't promote inflammation and may actually support brain health. First and most important is extra virgin olive oil. This has been a staple of the Mediterranean diet for thousands of years, and populations that consume large amounts of olive oil have significantly lower rates of neurodegenerative diseases, including Parkinson's. Olive oil is high in monounsaturated fats, which don't promote inflammation. It also contains powerful polyphenol compounds like oleocanthal, which has been shown to have anti-inflammatory effects similar to ibuprofen, but without the side effects. Research published in JAMA Neurology found that higher olive oil consumption was associated with a 29% lower risk of dying from neurodegenerative disease. For cooking, use regular olive oil or light olive oil, which have higher smoke points. For salad dressings and drizzling over finished dishes, use extra virgin olive oil to preserve the beneficial polyphenols. Look for olive oil in dark bottles, as light degrades the beneficial compounds, and store it in a cool, dark place. Quality matters with olive oil because there's unfortunately a lot of adulteration in the market. Look for certifications and buy from reputable sources. Coconut oil is another excellent option, especially for high-heat cooking. Coconut oil is high in saturated fats, which used to be demonized but are now understood to be stable and non-inflammatory. When consumed in moderation, the medium-chain triglycerides or MCTs in coconut oil can actually be used by the brain as an alternative energy source, which may be beneficial in Parkinson's where brain energy metabolism is impaired. Some research suggests that MCTs may have neuroprotective properties. One study found that coconut oil consumption improved cognitive function in people with mild cognitive impairment. Coconut oil has a high smoke point, making it ideal for sautéing and baking. It does impart a slight coconut flavor, which some people love and others prefer to avoid. Refined coconut oil has less flavor if you want something more neutral. Avocado oil is gaining popularity, and for good reason. It has a very high smoke point, making it suitable for any cooking method including high heat grilling and frying. It's high in monounsaturated fats, similar to olive oil, and it contains beneficial compounds like lutein, which supports eye and brain health. Avocado oil has a mild neutral flavor that works well in most dishes. It's more expensive than other options, but a little goes a long way. Butter and ghee, particularly from grass-fed cows, are traditional fats that have nourished humans for millennia. They contain beneficial compounds like conjugated linoleic acid or CLA and fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K2. The demonization of saturated fats from animal sources was based on flawed science, and we now understand that these fats, consumed in reasonable amounts as part of a whole food diet, don't cause the health problems they were blamed for. Butter works wonderfully for moderate heat cooking and adds delicious flavor to vegetables and other dishes. Ghee, which is clarified butter with the milk solids removed, has a higher smoke point and is suitable for higher heat cooking. Animal fats from quality sources can also be part of a healthy diet. Lard from pasture-raised pigs, tallow from grass-fed beef, and duck fat are all stable fats suitable for cooking. These were the traditional cooking fats in many cultures before the introduction of industrial vegetable oils in the early 20th century. They're experiencing a renaissance as people recognize that our ancestors who consumed these fats didn't suffer from the chronic diseases plaguing modern society. The key is sourcing quality. Animals raised on their natural diets produce fats with better fatty acid profiles, including more omega-3 and less omega-6 than conventionally raised animals. For salad dressings and cold applications, you can make delicious dressings at home using olive oil, lemon juice or vinegar, herbs and spices. Homemade mayonnaise using olive oil or avocado oil instead of soybean oil is surprisingly easy to make and tastes better than store-bought versions. You can also use tahini, which is sesame seed paste, as a base for creamy dressings. Sesame oil, while higher in omega-6 than olive oil, is much less processed and contains beneficial compounds like sesamol and sesamin that have antioxidant properties. Use it sparingly as a flavor accent rather than as a primary cooking oil. Now I know what you might be thinking, but isn't this going to be expensive? Isn't it inconvenient? How can I possibly avoid vegetable oils when they're everywhere? Yes, these healthier oils generally cost more than refined vegetable oils. But consider this. One bottle of good quality olive oil might cost $15 or $20 and last you several weeks. Compare that to the cost of medications, doctor visits, and the priceless value of better symptom control and slower disease progression. It's an investment in your health that pays enormous dividends. As for convenience, yes, it requires more effort initially. You'll need to read labels carefully, cook more meals at home, and be selective about restaurant choices. But these habits become second nature quickly, and many people find that once they eliminate inflammatory oils and start feeling better, they're highly motivated to continue. One practical strategy is to do a kitchen purge. Go through your pantry, refrigerator, and freezer. Read every label and remove anything containing soybean oil, canola oil, corn oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil, grapeseed oil, or any other refined vegetable oil. This includes obvious items like bottles of these oils, but also packaged foods, salad dressings, mayonnaise, and anything else containing them. Yes, you might end up throwing away a significant amount of food, but you're also removing sources of inflammation from your life. Replace these items with healthier alternatives. Stock your pantry with olive oil, coconut oil, and avocado oil. Make or buy salad dressings made with olive oil. Find brands of mayonnaise that use avocado oil or olive oil instead of soybean oil. They exist and are becoming more common. Look for snacks and crackers made with olive oil or coconut oil. They're out there if you look. When eating out, don't be afraid to ask questions. Ask what oil the restaurant uses for cooking. Request that your food be prepared with butter or olive oil instead of vegetable oil. Many restaurants are accommodating. If you explain that you have dietary restrictions, choose simpler preparations that are less likely to involve problematic oils. Grilled or roasted items without heavy sauces. Steamed vegetables. Fresh salads where you can control the dressing. Avoid deep-fried foods entirely when eating out, as you have no control over the oil quality or how many times it's been used. Another critical component of reducing neuroinflammation is increasing your omega-3 intake to balance the omega-6 you're still getting from nuts, seeds, and other whole food sources. The best sources of omega-3 fatty acids are fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, mackerel, sardines, anchovies, and herring. These fish are rich in the long-chain omega-3 fats, EPA and DHA, which have powerful anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective effects. Research specifically in Parkinson's disease has shown that higher fish consumption and higher blood levels of omega-3 fats are associated with slower disease progression and better cognitive function. A study in the journal Neurology found that people who ate fish at least once per week had a significantly lower risk of developing Parkinson's compared to those who rarely ate fish. Aim for at least 2 to 3 servings of fatty fish per week. If you don't eat fish or can't get enough through diet alone, a high-quality fish oil supplement or algae-based omega-3 supplement for vegetarians is recommended. Look for supplements that provide at least 1,000 milligrams of combined EPA and DHA per day. Many studies in Parkinson's have used doses of 1,000 to 2,000 milligrams daily. Choose supplements that are tested for purity and free of mercury and other contaminants. The quality of fish oil supplements varies widely, so investing in a reputable brand is worthwhile. Take your omega-3 supplement with meals for better absorption. Plant sources of omega-3, like flax seeds, chia seeds, and walnuts, provide ALA, or alpha-linolenic acid, which your body can convert to EPA and DHA, but the conversion rate is quite low, typically less than 10%. These foods are still healthy and worth including, but they shouldn't be your sole source of omega-3. If you have Parkinson's, you need the pre-formed EPA and DHA from marine sources. One practical way to increase fish intake is to keep canned sardines or wild salmon in your pantry for quick meals. Sardines on. Whole grain crackers with mustard makes a nutritious snack or light lunch. Salmon can be added to salads or made into salmon cakes. In addition to eliminating inflammatory oils and increasing omega-3 intake, there are other dietary strategies that can help reduce neuroinflammation. Emphasizing colorful vegetables and fruits provides polyphenols and antioxidants that combat oxidative stress and inflammation. Berries, leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and cauliflower, and colorful vegetables like bell peppers and tomatoes are particularly beneficial. Turmeric, the bright yellow spice used in curry, contains curcumin, which is one of the most powerful natural anti-inflammatory compounds known. Studies have shown that curcumin can cross the blood-brain barrier and has neuroprotective effects in models of Parkinson's disease. Add turmeric to your cooking regularly and consider a curcumin supplement. Absorption is enhanced when turmeric is consumed with black pepper and fat. Green tea contains polyphenols called catechins, particularly EGCG, which have anti-inflammatory and neuroprotective properties. Drinking green tea regularly has been associated with lower risk of Parkinson's in epidemiological studies. Aim for 2 to 3 cups daily. Ginger is another spice with potent anti-inflammatory effects. It can be used fresh in cooking, made into tea, or taken as a supplement. Dark chocolate with at least 70% cocoa content contains beneficial polyphenols and may support brain health. Enjoy a small amount daily as a treat. These additions work synergistically with the elimination of inflammatory oils to create a powerfully anti-inflammatory dietary pattern. Before we wrap up, I want to address one more important point about making these dietary changes sustainable and realistic. Perfection is not the goal, and beating yourself up over occasional consumption of vegetable oils is counterproductive. The goal is to dramatically reduce your overall intake, shifting from multiple daily exposures to occasional, unavoidable exposures. If you eliminate refined vegetable oils from your home cooking and packaged foods, and you're mindful about restaurant choices, but you occasionally eat something that contains these oils, that's okay. The occasional exposure in the context of an otherwise anti-inflammatory diet is not going to derail your progress. What matters is the overall pattern. Think of it like this. If you were consuming inflammatory oils at 15 meals per week before, and now you've reduced it to 1 or 2 meals per week, you've achieved an 85 to 90% reduction. That's a massive improvement that will absolutely translate to reduced inflammation and better health outcomes. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. Also recognize that dietary changes are most successful when they're gradual and sustainable. If you try to overhaul everything overnight and the changes feel overwhelming and miserable, you're less likely to stick with them long term. Start with the changes that feel most manageable. Maybe that's switching your cooking oil at home and making your own salad dressing. Once those habits are established, you can tackle the next area. Maybe eliminating packaged snacks and finding healthier alternatives. Gradually, your diet will transform, and it will feel natural rather than restrictive. Celebrate your progress rather than focusing on what you haven't changed yet. Every meal prepared with olive oil instead of vegetable oil is a win. Every restaurant meal where you asked questions and made informed choices is a win. Every package you put back on the shelf after reading the ingredients is a win. These small decisions compound over time into dramatic health improvements. For people with Parkinson's who want to slow disease progression, reduce symptoms, and maintain quality of life as long as possible, eliminating refined vegetable oils from your diet is one of the most impactful changes you can make. The science is clear that neuroinflammation drives Parkinson's progression, and refined vegetable oils are a major contributor to that inflammation. By removing this hidden source of harm and replacing it with healthy fats like olive oil, coconut oil, and omega-3 rich fish, you're not just avoiding damage, you're actively supporting brain health. The improvements can be profound and surprisingly rapid. Patients consistently report better energy, clearer thinking, improved mood, and in many cases, noticeable reduction in motor symptoms. Unlike medication changes, which may take weeks to months to evaluate, dietary changes can show benefits within days to weeks, giving you quick feedback about what works for your body. This empowers you to take an active role in managing your condition rather than feeling helpless in the face of a progressive disease. If this video has given you valuable information and hope, I'd like to invite you to join our supportive community here at Beyond Parkinson. Living with Parkinson's disease presents challenges that only those experiencing it truly understand, and having access to reliable, science-based information can make an enormous difference in how you navigate this journey. By subscribing to Beyond Parkinson, you'll receive new videos every week, covering specific strategies for managing different aspects of Parkinson's. From nutrition and exercise to medication management and emerging treatments, our commitment is to provide content that genuinely improves your daily life. Information that's grounded in research but explained in clear, practical language. Many of our subscribers have told us that the changes they've learned through this channel have transformed their independence and quality of life. To subscribe is simple. Just click the subscribe button below this video, then click the bell icon to receive notifications when we publish new content. Remember, you're not alone on this path. Every positive change you make matters, and we're here to support and guide you toward better health. Thank you for watching today, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Take excellent care of yourself and your brain.